Welcome to another AG2 production. My name is Chief Warrant Officer 3, Jordan Murphy. The topic of this video is creating a basic action tracker in SharePoint. The purpose of this video is to provide the viewer with the skills necessary to create a basic action tracker in SharePoint. The target audience of this video is the SharePoint beginner. This video was created using SharePoint 2010. In order to complete the steps in this video, you must have contributor permissions or higher on your SharePoint site in order to accomplish the task. If you do not have contributor permissions, please contact your site administrator to get the correct permissions. Action trackers are useful when you want to have a consolidated location for all the actions your section or directorate performs. This is particularly useful for your customers because when used effectively, your customer can simply navigate to the tracker to get the status on any item they submitted to your section for action or completion. This can significantly reduce the amount of time spent on phone calls or emails requesting the same information. It can also provide a level of transparency in your organization. Upon completion of this video, the viewer should have a higher level of confidence in creating a basic action tracker. It is not intended to be all-inclusive of the options available for a tracker. Let's begin. For the action tracker, we will first build two separate lookup lists: action item and organization information. After creating and populating these lists with the sample data, we will link them to the action tracker. This will allow standardization of the data in the list and allow for much easier querying and analysis of the data. First, what we need to do is click on Create, click Lists, click Custom List. We're going to name this Action_Items. Click on Create. Now, for this list, we are not going to create any additional fields. We are just going to use the title field. We're going to create some new items in here. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click on Add New Item. We're going to type some sample information in here just so we can link it over. So this one we'll call High School Stabilization. Click on Save. We're just going to add about 3 items on here. BAS. Add one more new item. We'll call this one Transition Leave. And click on Save. So at this point, you can choose to pause the video and complete the adding of all of your action items to the list, or you can come back and do it at a later time. So now we're going to create our next list that we're going to link in. This one's going to be called Organization Information. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click on Lists. So we're going to click Create again. We're going to choose a custom list. So we'll click List over here, click Custom List. Now we're going to type in Organization_Information. And click Create. So now what we need to do is we need to create some additional columns and rename some columns on this list. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on List Settings. We're going to come down here to Title, and we're going to rename Title to Organization_Name. We're going to type in here in the description information about subordinate organizations. We're going to leave this as a yes. No, we're not going to change any information on here. We're going to click on OK. Now we're going to add another field here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on Create Column. We're going to leave it defaulted as single line of text. We're going to call this organization code. In the military, you would use unit identification code or unit UIC or UPC, whichever you prefer. Organization underscore code. Single line of text, we're not going to change anything else, and click on OK. So for brevity purposes, these are the only two fields we will create in this list for the video. You may wish to add more fields to your list if you choose, as you may find the need to add more information about your organizations. So after creating and modifying these columns, scroll to the top of the screen, and this is called the breadcrumb trail. You're going to click on organization information. This will bring you back to the default view of the list. What we're going to do here is we're just going to add a couple items on here so we can have data to link in. So organization name, we're going to say unit 1, and the code is 111111. Click on save, and we'll click add new item. We'll do unit 2 and 222222. We do that, yes, 6 characters here. Click on that. Now that we have our two lookup lists created, we're going to create our basic action tracker list. So now we're going to follow the same process we did for creating the other two lists. So we're going to click over here on lists, and then we'll click create. Now for this list, we're going to use what's called a task list, and you'll see why in a little bit. Come down here, choose tasks. We're going to call this action underscore tracker. Click on create. From this view, what we need to do is click on list settings, because we need to change a few of the basic and advanced settings on the list to get it to work correctly. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on versioning settings. This will allow you to have multiple versions of your list item so you can track the history of changes to the item. So what we want on here, we want to leave on required content approval for submitted items. We're going to leave this no, and create a version each time you edit an item in this list. We're going to change this to yes. And we're going to go ahead and click on OK. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click on advanced settings. So for ensure allow management of content types, right here we're going to make sure that this is changed to no, and then we're going to change email notification to yes, attachments are enabled, new folder command no, and these other ones are going to be on default. Now you can change your permissions on here if you want to limit it to the view of the list items to only the individual who created the item. However, the problem with this is if you have multiple people working your subordinate organizations who need to have visibility of the items, if you change these to read only that were created by the user, or create items and edit items created by the user, this will limit your subordinate organizations. If they have a group of people working on these actions, only the person who created the item will be able to see it. So I recommend leaving this as read all items and create and edit all items. And you can use list level permissions to change the access on here. And just leave all these the same and click on OK. Now what we're going to do is we're going to delete some columns that we don't want to see on our list. So the first one we're going to change on here, click on predecessors, scroll to the bottom, and just click delete. Now we're going to scroll here. We're going to see task group. We're not going to use this for this action tracker. Come down here, click on delete. You can also choose to delete %complete or leave %complete on here. This is it. %complete is an arbitrary assignment of percentages based on your organization. So we're just going to leave this on here for now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to modify the columns to fit our needs for this action tracker. So first what we're going to do is we're going to click on title, and we're going to rename title to item name. and just put in a brief description, name of the action item. Leave it as yes, no, and don't change anything else on here. Click OK. Then we're going to click on description. Come down here, find description. And we're going to change this to upload_comments. And for the description, we'll call this two-way communication for information about the upload. We're going to leave this as rich text. Click on OK. We're not actually append changes to existing text. We're going to click on yes and then click OK. Next, we're going to click on due date. We're going to change this to date_completed. It's going to stay as date and time, and we're not going to change any of the other default values. Click on OK. Next, come down here to assigned to. We'll leave this the same, but now what we're going to do here is we're going to change allow multiple selections. So what this will allow you to do is when you do add items to your tracker, you'll be allowed to assign it to multiple individuals. So from the subordinate perspective, if they want to assign it to two different people or two different groups on your SharePoint list, they can do that from here. And allow selection of people and groups, we'll leave that here. We'll just go ahead and click on OK. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come down here to status. We're going to click on status, and this is what's called a choice field. This will show up as a drop-down list. So in here what we're going to do is we're going to delete these default values out, and we're going to type in some other values that may be pertinent to your organization. So I already have those typed. I'm just going to copy and paste them in here. You can see what they are on this list here. We're going to leave display choices using drop-down menu, allow fill-in choices no, and the default value will be NA. Now we're going to click OK. So now what we're going to do that we've modified some of the existing fields is we're going to create some additional fields. So now from this screen what you want to do is scroll down and find the link that says create column. We're going to click on create column. And the column name field, we're going to call this one action_item. And then the type of information in this column is, we're going to choose lookup, information already on this site. The screen will reload. Now down here in the bottom, it says get information from. You can see this is a drop down and it'll show our other lists on here. So we're going to choose action items and title, which were already selected by default. We're not going to change anything else here. And then click on OK. We're going to create another column. So we're going to create a new column. We're going to call this one organization_name. This is also going to be a lookup, and this is where we are connecting to those lists that we created at the very beginning. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to click on get information from organization information. The screen's going to reload again, and we want to choose organization name. And we're not going to choose linked to item, just organization name. We're not going to check anything else on here. Now we're going to click on OK. Now we're going to create another column. We're going to call this person name. This is useful, and you'll fill this field out when you have an action item that pertains directly to an individual. You may have some items that don't require connection to an individual person, but may be associated with a unit but not an individual. So on here, we're just going to choose single line of text. And we can choose, we can add some additional information in here if you wish to, but for this one we're just going to leave it blank because your organization may have specific formats that you display the name of individuals. So we're going to go ahead and click on OK. We're going to create another column, and this one is going to be called corrections_needed. So this will be the column you use when an item is uploaded but requires corrections and you're returning it to the originator to make required corrections. This is going to be multiple lines of text. Scroll down here, and what we're going to do is we're going to choose rich text for this one, either rich text or plain text on this one, and then append changes. We're going to click yes. Click OK. I'm going to create one more column. We're going to call this one action_taken. This will be a single line of text. And in the description, what I normally do here is I type headquarters use only. Action taken on item. And for this field, what this is useful for is when the highest level that is taking action on the item, this will just be a brief description of what you did for the item so that when your customer comes in and looks at the action tracker, they can see exactly what you did on the item. Forwarded for approval, complete, things of that nature. Require contains information, no. And then default value, I just type in here please review. So when you as the owner of the list comes out here, if you see please review in the action taken field, you know that nothing has happened on the item just yet. Click on OK. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click on ActionTracker from the list settings screen up here on the breadcrumb trail, and this will bring you to the basic view of your action tracker. So now from here you have a couple things you can do. You can click on add new item from here, or up in here in the list tools screen, if you click on items, click new item, and this will launch a form that allows you to add new items in here. So this is my new item. Status NA because it's brand new, that's the default status. Assigned to, so I'm going to come out here and click on browse. And here's where you'll choose people from your SharePoint group. So let's see if I can find myself in here. CW3 Jordan Murphy. Click on add, and this will assign this to me. Upload comments. Please review and take action. Action item, we're going to click on here, and this is a transition leave. Organization name is Unit 1. Person name, we're going to just say James J. Smith. And click on save. Let me go back here real quick. This is where you would attach the actual transition leave form. So come on here, let me go back. We're going to click on attach file, click on browse, and then you would browse and find the name of the file in here that you want to upload. Click on that, and then hit OK. This will attach the item to your list, so go ahead and click on save. What it's doing now is it's uploading the file and adding the items on here. So you can see here's everything on here. So now one of the options you have from here is if you want to change the view where the column ordering is different. So if you want to see the person's name right here, what you can do is click on modify view. And in this screen here, you can see that it gives you the name of all your columns, and if you want to display them or not display them, and position from the left, so this is looking from left to right where all the columns are. So if we want to change person name to column 2, action item to column 3, assign to column 4, we're going to go ahead and then just make these changes however you want to see them. And there are multiple other options you can have on here. Go through and change these and test it out and make it work for your organization. So now when we look on here and we view on this screen here, it shows the items in a separate order. Now when you click on add new item, it will still be in the original order from where they were created. So we're going to click on cancel here. So to change it on the form, so when your user is adding a new item, to change the ordering on here, what you have to do, when you click on cancel, is click on list settings. And down here, you'll see column ordering. So to change the column ordering for the form that your viewer sees, your customer sees, you have to change the order from your list settings. Click on column ordering, and here's where you'll change it. So now we want to see organization name as column 2, person name column 3, action item, we want to see column 1, we'll leave it as that. Now we're going to click on OK. And again, you can go in and change this at any time to meet the needs of your organization. So now we're going to go ahead and click on ActionTracker from the breadcrumb list again. And we'll click on Add New Item. Now you'll see here that the ordering on your form for creating new items is different. So again, you can, from your list settings, click on column ordering. Do that one more time. List settings, scroll down here to under your column list, you'll see column ordering, and this is where you change the order of the columns as you want them to appear on the form. So that's it. You just created your first action tracker. For my military viewers, if you would like to get a copy of a sample SOP for an action tracker, you can look me up on the Global Address book under Chief Warrant Officer 3 Jordan C. Murphy. Thanks for tuning in to AgTube, and look for additional videos in the future. Thanks.